The 13th annual Forest Lake Fly-In Airport Open House is proudly sponsored by Royal Pool and Spa. With 20 years in the pool and spa industry, Royal Pool and Spa is ready to help you winterize your pool and keep your spa working well into the winter. Stores carry the best pool chemicals at the lowest prices in town. Experienced staff can order parts and supplies. Stop by the White Bear Lake or Forest Lake store or visit the website at royalpoolandspa.com.
Hi, I'm here with Sam Husnick, and he's with the EAA out of the Blaine chapter.
Yes.
And did you want to tell us a little bit about the EAA?
The Experimental Aircraft Association is a worldwide organization, and of course there are local chapters all over the world. The main office or the main corporate area is Oshkosh, Wisconsin. That's where everything culminates every year, and there are thousands of airplanes show up there for their big fly-in every year. Other than that, the local chapters do things all year long, and one of the things they do here at the Forest Lake Airport is sponsor the Young Eagles rides, and they also sponsor the pancake breakfast, that sort of thing. And they're fundraisers for the local chapter. And of course, the whole idea between any of the chapters is to promote aviation and how it can be done safely. And we're constantly giving rides. Last year we gave 182 kids rides out here. This year I'm not so sure how many we're going to get because of the low ceilings and the lousy weather, but the whole idea is to promote aviation and certainly promote home building.
Excellent. Can I ask you a question about when you started flying? What age did you start flying planes?
I was 16, and that was 51 years ago.
Excellent. And what is your favorite part about flying a plane, or is it building the experimental plane? Is it getting it up in the air that first time?
Well, that's exciting. I got to tell you, the very first time we flew this airplane on the very first time on May 31st, and it was the first time I had ever flown an experimental the first time, and it was exciting. It's there's some. You give it plenty of opportunities to give it a good look over before you go, and but it all worked out, and people do it every day. I mean, it was just something for us, new for us, So. It's as far as what I like the best, it's hard to tell because I do love flying them. And one thing about working on them, if you get to a point where you just kind of had it, you just walk away from it for a while and then start over again, But the flying part, of course, we love, and our whole family's involved. And I have a son that's a military pilot, and my oldest son, rather, he uses the airplane for business occasionally, and mostly pleasure, but sometimes for business. So we've been flying for a long, long time.
And what actually makes an airplane an experimental airplane versus just your standard commercial airplane?
Well, that implies that it was amateur built. And in other words, it was built in somebody's garage or hangar or whatever. And the people that are actually building it probably don't have a license to work on airplanes, but they are allowed to build their own airplane and meet certain standards, of course. And basically, they're as good as any other airplane flying out there. It's just that we can't use this airplane for any commercial purposes. But we can fly it anywhere we want to, same as any other airplane.
So basically, you make it, you break it?
That's pretty much it, yeah. That's it.
And can you tell us a little bit about this plane right here? Because I know you mentioned that this is one that you guys built.
Yes, this is built from a kit, and we worked on it about 6 years. We got to make a living too in between times, and it's a Super Cub replica. And Piper built airplanes that were very, very similar to this one for many, many years. And about 1989 or 90, they quit building the Super Cub. So then the home builders started taking over and building their own.
Is that how a lot of versions come together? Is that they stop making a certain model plane and people just love it and they want to keep building it, or?
No, not necessarily. No, there are many designs out there. These guys design their own airplane and go through the whole process and do all the building and airfoil work and all of it. This is just a copy. It was really simple for us. Manufacturing date is February of 2013 because that's when we actually got it licensed. So it's virtually a new airplane. Engine, prop, all that stuff is all new, and so it was the first time we ever owned a new airplane. But a lot of the airplanes you see here, like that one over there, is a 1946. There are a lot of airplanes that are still flying today that have many years on them, but they're well taken care of. This airplane is 180 horsepower, and it flies about 100 miles an hour, and we built it to put it on floats.
Well, thank you so much for taking a few moments with us today. here with Carrie Love, and would you tell us a little bit about your awesome little aircraft right here?
All right. Well, I fly a weird little kind of aircraft called a trike. a trike. And this one is made in England.
Okay.
I've been flying trikes for 13 years now, and it's my fun toy. It's just a toy. And so I flew into the fly-in today at Forest Lake with my buddy, who's got another trike over there, and we're just here to have fun.
Excellent. Have you been coming to this event?
I have. I come most years here and land on their nice long grass strip and eat pancakes.
What is your favorite thing about our airport here in Forest Lake?
Okay, two things I think. Three things. One is it's very quiet. There's not much traffic here. Two, it's got a nice grass runway. And three, it's very close to where I hangar, which is in Osceola, Wisconsin.
Well, can you tell us a little bit about, and I know that your trike is a very unique aircraft, what makes it different from some other kinds of aircraft that people would be familiar with? Your typical little plane.
All right. So what makes this different is it's controlled by weight shift. Most airplanes have ailerons and a rudder and elevator and all that to change. But this, it's all done right here. If I want to go up, I want to push the bar forward. That moves the center of gravity back, and we go up. If I want to come down, I pull the bar in and go down. Excellent. If I want to turn right, just like on the steering wheel of a car on the bottom, if I push left, I turn right. Try not to hit the dog. Okay, so that's what makes it different. It's like a motorcycle in the sky. You really feel the wind, you smell the cows down there, and you're just closer to being a bird.
What is your favorite thing about flying? I know it's a difficult question.
No, it isn't. Really, it's escaping our planet. You leave the Earth, and for a while you're not really of the Earth, except for the atmosphere, and you have this different perspective of looking down on all the little ant people and cars down there. It's kind of a freedom. It's a release of who you usually are. So it's another dimension, really.
Hi, I'm here with Rick Ashback, and tell us a little bit about the event today, Rick.
Boy, I'm just trying to think what annual, it's 12th or 13th annual event that we've had. It's an open house. It's for pilots and the community. We get a lot of support from the community here, and when the weather's good, obviously we get more pilots that come in too. Generally, where we're standing generally is filled completely with airplanes, and the clouds are starting to lift now. We're starting to hear some airplanes starting up. We're going to start flying Young Eagles, but it's a community event. It's an event where the families can come out and see some activity in the air, understand more about aviation, talk to pilots, learn how airplanes fly. Youth ages 8 through 17 can get an airplane ride, an introductory ride. It's 10 or 15 minutes long, and they get a chance to experience aviation. And that experience, you're going to get that experience and the enjoyment of it as a kid, but then you use that experience all life long. So it's really cool.
How many Young Eagles do you end up flying typically at an event like this?
Close to 200, somewhere short of 200, right around 200, depending on the day, depending on the weather, depending on the planes. Yeah.
Well, it looks like we're getting some clouds lifting here. It started a little bit cloudy, but this has gotten good.
Yeah, if you looked around, the pilots are all smiling right now. Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about how an airport influences a community?
Sure. As a matter of fact, we've been talking to the City Council and the Economic Development Authority about our airport here, just to get them to understand how they operate, how they benefit a community, how do they pay for themselves, and how do you improve them. And it's been really good because we haven't done that for quite a while. And airports, lately I describe an airport like a bridge. If you don't have a bridge over the interstate, you don't have people stopping in your community. And airports do serve the same purpose. The only difference is do you fly in or do you drive in? You follow me? And if you see a bridge, you see people with classic cars, you see people with kids in their car, they're going shopping, doing their things, you see commerce happening. Well, the same thing happens in the air and at an airport. You'll look and you'll see different airplanes that serve different purposes. So they really are a lot the same. And there's statistics that help explain how airports benefit a community. We have government services for spraying mosquitoes. They use the airport. We've had LifeLink, people with ambulance needing air ambulances use the airport. We've had the Highway Patrol use the airport. Well, maybe some people don't like that, because we know their purpose. When the library was built, the architect firm was up in Bemidji, and they would fly down plans, and they would fly down to monitor the project, and it's just from here, it's right over there. So it said another way, how would life be today if we didn't have a next day air? How would life be today if we didn't have air ambulances? How would life today be if we didn't have airmail? Well, there was a time where you could buy an airmail stamp. Well, now you don't. They're all airmail now, But aviation and airplanes and airports have allowed us to be more productive as a society, whether it's from a family perspective or a business perspective. So, and our airport sits right there with them. And 10% of the airports, I'm going to say roughly 10% of the airports, airlines use. The other 90% are used like our airport is used, and for those purposes. As far as funding, airports are funded through the Federal Aviation Administration and state aeronautics offices, and it's funded through aviation taxes. So my property taxes or your property taxes don't go to pay for the airport as much as it's funded through aviation taxes. So our partner is the state of Minnesota, and they've contributed on partnerships on projects with us between 60 and 80%. And they get their money through the aviation gas taxes, aviation sales taxes, aviation registration. So, and then we are a profit center, and we do, we have to watch our expenses, and we do make a little profit every year, but we don't, obviously our goal as I'm on the airport commission. You've talked to Sam Husnick, he's on the airport commission, Don Ship, and Tim Dahlbeck and Susan Young from the city is on the commission too. When the airport was purchased from the private parties back in 1998, we had a feasibility study for the airport. And the feasibility study, number one, said this area of the metro area should continue to have an airport for the transportation system and how it provides. And and this is how the airport should evolve. Ultimately, some hard surface runways, some new hangar areas, which are to our back, and a new area for where the airplanes are here. So we've been following the plan that was put in place in 1998, and we've seen excellent support from the community, excellent support from the state, past good support from the city councils of the past, and now we're looking to them to help us pave the runway and put in a taxiway. And what that will do is, when we talk to the EDA and the city council, I likened it to, if you have a gravel trail with bicycles, you only get so many people on a gravel trail, right? But if you pave it, it makes that much more of a community, that much more of an asset to the community. Well, the same thing exists with the runway. We have a grass runway. It's a good grass runway, just like a gravel bike path would be. But if we put blacktop on it, you become even a better asset for the community, because people that now have to drive to Osceola or New Richmond or Blaine can just come right to Forest Lake and pick up their family or pick up or do business.
I do have to ask, I know even though this event is about the airport and talking about the airport, I do have to ask what your favorite part of flying is.
Oh, my favorite part.
If you have one. I know it's hard.
Well, if it was last night, it was doing my first loop in a biplane.
That would be so
Yeah, Don and I own a biplane together, and the biplane's been on the airport since 1968. And we've restored it, and last night his son and I went up and we did a couple of loops in the biplane. So that right now I would say is my favorite. What I like about flying is, there's no center lines. There's no, if you want a hill, you make a hill. If you want to, you make your road when you're up there. And there's a lot of skill involved, and that's just like golf has a lot of skill. So it gives you a chance to practice your skills and perform your skills. And, there isn't anything I don't like about flying.
How long have you been involved with the airport? I know you said you started flying when you were 16, but doesn't it even go earlier than that?
It does. I was 12 years old. The airport was owned by Kay and Tom Doherty and their son Dan DePonte. And I was 12 years old, and my mom got a call from Kay and said that she needs help with her lawn over across the road. And I was literally across the road, and I figured, well, I take care of the lawn and things here. I could go help somebody else with their lawn. And when I came across the road, I realized that their lawn was hundreds of acres. It was an airport. It wasn't just a fenced-in yard, And so anyhow, I was helping every day that I could after school, and Kay was always so kind-hearted to give me some food before I went home and ate even more good food that my mom made. And the way she says the story went is she caught me watching the airplanes flying under the tree. And the way I say it is I was done with my work and there wasn't anything else to do. So anyhow, she worked out an arrangement with my mom, so I'd work for half my lesson, and Mom and Dad picked up the other half, and every 2 weeks I'd get 30 minutes or 45 minutes of airplane flying in, and it cost, they were like $18, $16.75 to $18.25 every 2 weeks. So Mom and Dad pitched in $8-9 every couple of weeks, which is back then with my age significant, So anyhow, I started flying, got my soloed on my 16th birthday, and got my license on my 17th birthday. So
that's excellent. So changed your life then. The airport has been a integral part. And do you find that a lot when you talk to young people, that if they start flying at a young age, that it really shapes who they are as people?
Yes. I was so wrapped up in flying and enjoying it and helping at the airport. The way I like to describe Kay, Tom, and Dad, they were my coaches. If I would have played football and basketball or baseball, you have respect for your coaches, and they helped me with that. So, yeah. So I've been involved a long time. The airport's growing, the uses have grown. Now it's, as we know, it's a city-owned airport and publicly owned, and it's a nice asset to the community. It really has been, and a lot of youth get a chance to experience flight through here, and if they don't experience flight, how do they know they want to be an airline pilot? If they're not in a, life is about experiences, and that helps guide your life. So that's why I like to give Young Eagle rides.
The 13th annual Forest Lake Fly-In Airport Open House is proudly sponsored by Royal Pool and Spa. Since 1989, Royal Pool and Spa has been the place to go for all your pool and spa needs. Royal Pool and Spa can keep your pool in top shape with repairs of liners and heaters, restoration of tile, fiberglass, and concrete pools. We can winterize your pool. Visit royalpoolandspa.com for more information.